on Second Thought. I'm Susan King, and the good guy next to me in the white hat would be
William Wagener. I'm happy you're with us again today. We've got some terrible things that have been happening in America. Number one, we lost the war. How did we lose the war, Susan?
Which war are you referring to?
Yeah, which war? The drug war?
Yeah.
We lost that war. You can get drugs anywhere you want to in any small town or village. So apparently having this big drug war didn't help. Did get some innocent people killed. And now we've got a war on terrorism, which since they declared the war on terrorism, do you feel safer?
No, not really, no. You feel a little bit more threatened about everything you do because is there any safety in anything anymore?
No, there isn't. But we got some local email we're going to run by you, and then we're going to stick with us. We're going to be dealing with the issue. Have you lost control of your government? Of course, you know, if you've been watching On Second Thought for very long with Susan and I, you know, in fact, you have lost control of your government. You have only a very tenuous control of your government, if any at all. But worse than that, we're about to start a war that will never, ever end. Because it's a war on terrorists, and there will never be a shortage of terrorists. They've been around forever. It's whenever there's bad government, somebody decides to get wacky and kill innocent people. And then the government gets even more ruthless, right, Susan?
They do, yeah.
They do. So we're going to connect, and we're going to ask you the question, can you trust your Federal Bureau of Investigation to tell you the truth?
Today, after watching some things I've watched and learning some more things, I doubt it. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of truth out there anymore.
And we've got some other people besides us, federal grand jurors, journalists, who come to the same conclusion. But before we do that, we want to give you a few minutes. We got a local email from Tom. What does he say?
He said, I am a concerned citizen of Santa Maria. I would like to see if you can ask questions to local government about the situation of fire stations in the city. A standards of cover document was released about 2 years ago stating that we need more fire stations and firefighters. We seem to be getting more and more homes and incoming businesses, but there are still the same amount of fire stations and firefighters. I recently purchased a new house in the Westgate Homes and was told that I need to pay an additional $10 per month on my property taxes for park maintenance. If the City Council knows that we do indeed need more fire protection, then why don't they have the brains to fund fire protection in this way? We sure need a new park. I would be happy to pay more taxes, $10 a month extra, knowing that it would be going toward me and my family's safety. I read more articles about the level of safety and fire protection in the city, and it scares me. Obviously the safety of the citizens, is a low priority in the city. It is nice to know that when your house or business burns down, you will have a nice park to live in.
Thank you very much, Tom E. out there. And what is that place called?
He lives out in the Westgate
the new Westgate section.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, I covered that on my show about 8 months ago. We were talking about lack of fire protection. We need a new fire station on the south end of town. We need one probably on the west end of town now because of the new developments. But we've needed one up on the north end of North Broadway, and there is a perfect location right on North Broadway, right across from the Food for Less up there, which they should have built one already. But they can't, Tom, because the city doesn't want to tell you they're spending $2.8 million a year subsidizing one landlord. Hello? All you landlords out there, wouldn't you like to get a $2.8 million subsidy? Do you know what that subsidy is, Susan?
I have no idea.
Caught you off guard, didn't it?
Yes, you did. It's like, where'd that come from?
I got to get a laugh in here because it gets real serious later in the show here. Yeah, the 2.8 is what the city is spending since about 1977 or 76 every single year. Your money collected through incremental sales tax, and when there isn't enough of that in the redevelopment area, they take it out of your property taxes, and you're subsidizing the one single landlord of the town center mall. That huge parking structure you park in?
Okay, yeah.
The landlord doesn't own that.
No.
The city owns it. And they've agreed to keep paying $2.8 million and $2.8 million and $2.8 million every year. But they don't want you to know that because it was all supposed to be paid by out-of-town visitors coming here simply to buy here. And so they were supposed to pay this. These out-of-town people were supposed to pay this. Well, guess what? Other towns built malls too. And they're not coming here in droves. Plus, people are not spending that much. They don't like this covered parking. So it's costing you $2.8 million year after year after year. It just keeps costing you.
City doesn't own it.
City does own it.
Does own it.
But they don't own the mall. They own the parking structure.
Right.
So when you park there, don't think you're getting something for free. You've already paid for it. It's sort of like public access. This is a public access show we do here. And Peter Eros does a public access show, sort of a warm, fuzzy, friendly thing. Meet the Democrats in your neighborhood. And All About Qatar is done by Manny Mestes. These are public access shows. You've been paying for these shows to be on a public access channel, but you haven't been getting it. All I can say, Tom, is I talked to the city over a year ago, got nowhere. Not only is $10 not much money when you buy a house in Westgate, but how about if they'd built a private school right in the development? Instead, they paid school impact fees to the school district, which is building no school for you out there. It would have been wiser for the city to say, look, we want a private school there, and you will build us into your financing of the homes. So you got 100, 300 new children, you got a new school with 300 children built right there in Westgate. And I suggested that and did, when they were looking at more developments, I suggested again, just a few months back.
You did that at City Council
I did
meeting,
that.
right?
Yeah, I did it at City Council as an individual citizen. Guess what? They're not listening. And as to your question, what did you say about their brains?
What part?
What did you say? I don't know.
Oh, he just thought that, you know, he'll have a nice place to live in the park if he's...
I can't speak for the City Council's brains. You know, I just really can't go there. But I do know they don't seem to be receptive to building new fire departments. And here's the clincher, Tom, and anybody else who needs fire protection. Had the city not built this great big white elephant called Town Center Mall, we wouldn't have all those businesses starving there now that they built the Betaravia Center. All those new stuff going out there by the freeway in Betaravia is killing the downtown. It's not government's job, at least that's the libertarian position, it's not government's job to help finance private industry. But when one landlord gets a $2.8 million bailout subsidy, and you have to pay for it, and it goes on not just for 5 or 10 years, I think this is a 40-year loan. I asked Tim Ness to come on this show, and he politely declined again and again because the city don't want to admit the big boondoggle they've got the taxpayers in. That's the bottom line. For $2.8 million we're spending every year, we could have built a fire station there, a fire station there, a fire station. We could have built 7 or 8 of them.
Right, something that's useful.
Something that's useful and that you really need. And I'm with you, Tom. But, you know, and I even ran for city council last year, but, you know, the voters voted the way they did. And I think I came in second to the last in that.
Try again next year.
Try again.
Well,
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. But, yeah, what's the next letter we got?
We have a local person. Recently, I've become a founder of the Laissez-Faire City organization, which contains many sponsors from the Libertarian Party of Costa Rica. After much soul searching, I find that I myself have adopted many of the principles behind the Libertarian Party platform.
Right on.
I do not believe that the U.S. should be the policeman of the world. I also believe that the recent...
Say that again. Read that again.
I do not believe that the U.S. should be the policeman of the world. And I also believe that the recent disaster in New York City is largely due to our aggressive foreign policies. Terrorist organizations are simply a side effect. Unfortunately, 90% of the brainwashed U.S. population probably disagrees with me. Recently, I watched your public service message on charter cable, and I agree with much of what you said. My question is, if we throw out Lois Capps from office, are we then, by default, throwing our support behind the Republican candidate as the Green Party effectively did in the recent presidential election? Which is the greater evil, having a Democrat or Republican in office? I'm interested in strategies for giving Libertarian candidates much more exposure than they currently enjoy. If the current war on terrorism fails, or if there are more disastrous terrorist attacks, then perhaps we will have an opportunity to carry out these strategies. And that's from Keith.
Keith, thank you, Keith, out in
San Luis Obispo.
Nipomo in San Luis Obispo County.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Keith,
Nipomo.